in 2004, I was diagnosed with HIV. My viral load was in the millions, and my T cells at that time were about 400. My sister in 2009 brought me Jeff's black and white early version of the food protocols of conquering disease and the smoothies. And I started his protocol, and immediately, actually, my next blood test, my viral load was actually gone from millions to 1,000. And now, I am undetectable. I take no pharmaceuticals, none. My liver functions are normal, and my viral loads are down, so I know it works.
My husband and I always lived a holistic health style, so when he collapsed and was taken to the hospital and was unconscious for 3 days with heart disease, where the doctor told me there was nothing they could do, I decided for him that we were going to go back home and figure it out for ourselves. My husband couldn't walk, he couldn't sit up, he was barely 105 pounds. He had to have the doors and the windows open. He really could not do anything. And when I went to Asheville to get my CEUs, which I was late for, I was afraid I wouldn't see him again. I had no idea that Jeff was going to have food healing. It saved my husband's life. I bought everything. My husband now, well, we went to our son's pool and he swam a lap. And then 2, then 3. My husband can drive his pickup. He now can go into the store and buy healthy food. Every single day we have the smoothies. And I knew nothing about this miraculous food healing. And I did everything what you told us. Cardiovascular. Every single thing, every single day. And my husband is living proof because I'm here. And he doesn't have to have a sitter. Oh, I forgot to tell you, he went back to the doctors, as you know, we have to keep the doctors. And the doctor said to him, your tests are perfect. And then she said, what is your secret? But she turned around too fast to listen.
I'm going to tell you a story about my father, who 4.5 years ago was diagnosed with end-stage prostate cancer. And I don't know if you all know about PSA counts, but normal is really low, like 1, 2, 3 starts to get their attention. My father had never had a PSA test done, and when he went in, because he was turning gray and really felt weak and he looked like a walking death, and he doesn't listen to me as far as what dietary things he should do, and I certainly don't know at all. But when he went to his doctor and had the test done, his PSA was over 1,300, and they said, you're a dead man in 2 weeks or 3 months. We're not going to do anything. We're going to send you home, and you can have whatever you want to keep you comfortable these last few months of your life. I was sitting in the appointment when the doctor said that. He told them it wasn't even worth doing any surgery or taking any medication at all. This was frightening. I went to the class, the Qigong class, which was absolutely life-transforming, as you probably, anybody that has done it knows. And I also got the food healing bug. And I went and I started to switch my father over. The first thing I did, because he was so weak, was I changed his water. And he had good water from a well, and it was good. We've had it tested, it was good. I switched him to distilled water, and that hydrated him very well, and it started to work miracles. And then I said, you have to eat asparagus because that's what Jeff said. So I got the recipe from this friend from years ago, and I made that sauce that was unbelievably delicious, and I put that on it, and he actually thought it was cream sauce. You don't take cream and dairy products away from a farmer, I want to tell you. That just doesn't happen. I stopped all of his dairy products, I stopped all of his bread. Long story short, that was 4 years ago. My father is 84 years old. He's working. He keeps having falls once in a while, but when he does, he heals like that, faster than anybody I know. And he is working, running a restaurant full-time and having no health problems. And the doctors have tested him, and they don't know where the cancer is anymore.
I shared this information with a very dear friend of mine who had, you guys know these people, I know you do. She had asthma so bad that she was the person that has the inhalers in every room. She has one by the shower, she has one in both cars. She's got one everywhere. So, you know, I'm telling her about my smoothies. And here is a person, incidentally, who shared a home with a nurse who taught her to juice, who taught her to remove gluten and dairy and sugar from her diet. She's doing all of these things, but she's still having asthma attacks when the cats come around, okay, or if she eats out and there's sugar in the food. So I tell her about my smoothies, and I tell her about high vitamin C and kiwis. She does kiwi for 3 months, 2 kiwis a day, peppermint in the smoothies, things like that. And today, it's been 3 years, she has not had an asthma attack. She no longer even knows where any of her inhalers are. She hasn't used one in 3 years.
I'm very happy to share the story about my mother because she's my best friend. One night at midnight, I got a phone call from my stepdad saying that she had fallen and broken her hip. I went home that night after she went into surgery and looked up. I went straight to the smoothie formula book. I just kept thinking high silica. That's all I panicked. Then Jeff found out, and he was like, "You're doing the protocol in conquering any disease, right?" And I was like, "I'm doing the high silica smoothies." And he's like, "Horsetail," and we talked a lot about what I was supposed to be doing that I wasn't. And so I followed everything in the book, and 2 weeks after the surgery, my mother went in to get a checkup. So they do the x-ray, and she walked in with her cane. She was supposed to be using a walker, but she was feeling so well that she walked in with the cane, and the doctor was very surprised and concerned. And she's like, "No, I'm fine." So they took the x-ray, and he walked back into the office with huge eyes and sat down and said to her, "I've never seen anything like this. You're 90% ahead of anybody at this stage in recovery." And she told him about the smoothies, but he didn't really want to know. All the nurses wanted to know when I was in the hospital giving them to her, which was really cool. And one of them had actually attended your seminar. And I talked to her about that because I was like, "Why don't you talk to the doctors and get them to, you know, implement this?" And she was like, "I have."
I've had high cholesterol, higher than it should be, all my life. After the first of the year, my doctor told me that there really wasn't anything I could do about it, that some people just have a genetic disposition to that, and some people can just exercise and do everything right, and they still have it too high. So he said he needed to put me on statin. I left, and I finally decided that I was going to add in the coconut oil and eliminate cooking with anything but that. I had resisted that because, quite frankly, even though I knew intellectually it was a good thing to do, I was scared of it because my cholesterol was already too high, and here I'm putting all this saturated fat in. So, for 3 months, I put the fear aside, and that's what I did, 2 to 3 tablespoons every day in smoothies. So I got to that place, and it had gone from, in 3 months, from 275 to 172. I was ecstatic. Absolutely.
Ever since I was young, I always had hormonal problems, and I would have very irregular periods. I did the morning tonic for about a month to 2 months with the goji berries, and also eat the asparagus with the sauce. And I always wondered if I would ever be able to conceive because of my issues with hormones, and I'm actually about 8 to 9 weeks pregnant now.
January the 21st of 2010, I had a heart attack at work. I'm a former firefighter. And it was a great wake-up call for me. I immediately went back to Jeff's book, Conquering Any Disease, which I had bought and was using sporadically. I followed the protocol for heart disease, and after about my third appointment with my cardiologist, she says, "What have you been doing? You're looking great." I said, "Well, I've been doing exercise, and I've been doing a regimen of my smoothies from Conquering Any Disease." And I actually have a letter here from my cardiologist where she actually says in her physical of me, noting that I've been doing the smoothies and the physicals. My being here is a matter of life, not death, but life. And I know my being here is going to impact myself and those people I love and care about, because I've been taking this to my family and friends. As a matter of fact, I've got people who are worrying the heck out of me coming to my house wanting me to make smoothies for them. And I wish you could see the reaction on people's face when you take a avocado seed and put it in your blender and microtize it. It's just incredible. So all I can say is Jeff and Qigong Associates, thank you so much.